Hi, I'm Joe Saunders of Miniature Landscape Hobbies, and in this episode, we're going to work with models of aliens. From the awesome Gale Force 9 game, Another Glorious Day in the Corps. Let's get to it. Miniature Landscape Hobbies is proudly supported by these sponsors. I love the movie Aliens, and when I found out that there was a new game based on the series that was available, I really got, pretty happy. I was also really thrilled to find out that this game involved some excellent models. My sons and myself have been having a ton of fun playing the campaigns. I even had a big family get-together where lots of my extended family and the in-laws played a game of Another Glorious Day in the Corps using the bug hunt missions. We're talking about people here that really have no concept of what the movie is even about, but the game mechanics themselves were awesome fun, and we had a great time. After playing a bunch of times with just the plain plastic, I decided it was time to get painting. Of course, probably the best option to do first is to prepare the aliens themselves, because if you don't have a bad guy, well, there's no reason to have any good guys. In this video, I'm going to show you my method for painting these models quickly, but also to turn out something that's a little different. Let's get to it. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank my Patreon supporters. Without their assistance, Miniature Landscape Hobbies would not be possible. If you would like to learn more about the benefits of becoming a Patreon supporter, please check the link in the video description. H.R. Geiger's classic design is kind of a glossy black. So to prepare, I took all the aliens from the 3 sets in the game that include them, built them, and primed them. My objective was to get these on the table after just 3 to 4 days of work. But I didn't want to do the same gray dry brush and done treatment you see everywhere else. The aliens are really cool bad guys, so they deserve more visual interest than that. I started with a simple black undercoat, which I applied to all the other models at once with a rattle can. The key to speed, in my opinion, is using the Zenithal painting approach, so I started with a dry brush of neutral gray. I worked in batches of 8 models to break up the monotony of the task. Grabbing the oh-so-awesome MIG Dio dry brush paint and a smaller ratty brush, I now applied a very fine dry brush of white to pick out only the uppermost surfaces of each model. This provided a great substrate of contrast to work with, but now we had some pale and chalky results. I find a lot of painters leave the task off here, but let's face it, these aren't very interesting. It's time to tint them and filter out the gradients between shades. I decided that a subtle blue is a good option, so I mixed 5 to 6 drops of Grim Black Army Painter Speedpaint with 3 drops of Beowulf Blue. I then cut this by adding an equal amount of speed paint medium to make a very transparent wash. Now, as speed is the order of the day, I load this wash in an airbrush to apply it. I could of course brush it on by hand, but the airbrush is just faster. When my glaze is dry, the aliens are most of the way towards being finished. I paint the metal grate on the base with rough iron and dry brush it with gunmetal. Next, I look at the aliens on a case-by-case basis. Because it's hard to apply such speedy work evenly, I decided to accentuate the finer details here and there. This is done by adding a very subtle dry brush of ivory on the upper surfaces, varying in intensity to make it heavier on the darker models. After this is finished, the base rims get 2 coats of black. This method was, I think, an excellent way to prepare the alien drones from the Another Glorious Day in the Corps set, but I still had the 4 special aliens from the In the Pipe 5x5 supplement, and the Queen from the Get Away From Her, You box set. These models needed to be done a little different to account for their greater importance in the game. I had, by this point, given all these special models the same type of dry brush underpainting that I had done with the alien drones. So I decided at this point just to vary the tinting by switching up the color instead of just using Beowulf Blue and Grim Black like I did for the others. For the Brute, I went with Slaughter Red, which I brushed on. The Scout was treated with Camo Green. The Skulker got Runic Gray. And the Guard received Purple Swarm. This one in particular I really liked. Since the Guard is paired with the Queen, I figured they should match, so I used the same wash on her, though I did pick out some aspects with the mix I used on the Brute to add some warmth and interest to this much larger and more imposing model. These specials were then based the same as the drones. Now I was at the end, but these are definitely gaming pieces, so I hit each one with 3 to 4 coats of satin varnish to provide ample protection to my work. Here I need to make an observation though. The aliens in the movie are covered with slime and moisture, so they would look best to be treated with a really glossy varnish. However, since I would be photographing them, I settled with satin varnish, as gloss just doesn't work under the camera lights. You, however, may want to use the gloss varnish instead. And with this, the project was finished. In 3 days, I had finished 21 alien models of all types and sizes to a standard that I think looks awesome. They also retain their menacing color schemes that accentuate their nightmare-inducing nature. So I call this episode a success. But if you have any other suggestions or ideas on how to prepare the aliens for this excellent game, be sure to mention them in the comments. Now all I need to do is get to work on Ripley and the gang to make a suitable opposition to these oh-so-nasty bad guys.
Game over, man! It's game over!
If you would like to learn more about how to paint models with black paint, please watch this video. Or if you want to learn about the theory behind painting miniatures, watch this other video instead. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember to keep building life in miniature.